From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Thursday morning. It's 5 o'clock. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Thank you for starting your day with us. Our top story this morning, with 3 more deaths reported on Wednesday, Bighorn County, Montana remains one of the areas hardest hit by the coronavirus. Local health officials reported a woman in her 80s who was not hospitalized died on Saturday. A man in his 60s died in the hospital on Tuesday, and a woman in her 70s passed away yesterday. She was also hospitalized with the virus. Bighorn County has a total of 27 deaths since the start of the pandemic. 990 residents were infected at some point. Right now, there are 131 active cases there. State health leaders will begin releasing numbers today showing the strain of the pandemic on Montana hospitals. The same day, a record 733 new infections were announced. Governor Steve Bullock said they will begin reporting bed capacity, number of ventilators, and ICU capacity. Bullock again stated he will not add any new restrictions and will leave that up to county and tribal governments. The governor also announced he will be using $200 million CARES Act dollars to prevent a tax hike for Montana businesses. In Wyoming, a taxed health department will be getting some help from the National Guard. Yesterday, Governor Mark Gordon activated 20 soldiers and airmen to assist with contact tracing efforts. Health leaders reported 115 new cases on Wednesday. Right now, just over 1,100 Wyoming residents have the virus. 53 people have died there. On the national front, an experimental drug used by President Trump to treat his case of coronavirus may soon get approved for public use. Biotech company Regeneron has applied for emergency authorization with the FDA. While the president was in the hospital, he was treated with a cocktail of antibodies made by the company. President Trump even called his battle with COVID-19 a blessing from God while touting the drug in a video on Wednesday.
They gave me Regeneron. It's called Regeneron, and other things too, but I think this was the key. But they gave me Regeneron, and it was like unbelievable. I felt good immediately. I felt as good 3 days ago as I do now. We're waiting for the emergency use authorization, and the drug companies have just made a lot of it. So hopefully this is going to be not just a therapeutic, it's going to be much more than a therapeutic. You're going to get better fast, just like I did. So again, a blessing in disguise. Good luck.
If the FDA grants emergency authorization, Regeneron says they will make doses available for free to Americans. Unfortunately, many may not be able to wait for the drug's approval, as there's a new warning from the nation's top expert on infectious diseases. Dr. Anthony Fauci says coronavirus deaths in the U.S. could nearly double to 400,000 by the end of this year. New cases have risen in the past 2 weeks in 30 states and the District of Columbia. Fauci says the Midwest and Great Plains are becoming hotspots. Ed joins us here on the set now with a look at today's forecast. Where are we at in this week's weather pattern? An up or a down? Yesterday was a down, so today has to be an up, right?
That's right, yeah. Temperatures are going to be, in fact, close to record setters by the time the afternoon is done. 50 right now at the airport, so that's a pretty mild start for this time of the year. And regional temperatures are really a mix, anywhere from 35 at Kalispell, 30s around Butte and Bozeman, and also in Livingston at 36 degrees. But check out 57 in Cody this morning, 51 in Miles City. It's 39, a little cooler for you in Sheridan. But as we start getting into the afternoon, we're going to be watching those temperatures really on the rise. Southern Montana, northern Wyoming, much the same. 30s in the mountain foothills, some 40s and 50s elsewhere. Clark, you're sitting at 50 this morning, 54 in Powell. So a really warm start there, especially in Park County, Wyoming. For us, we'll be looking for temperatures to move up into the 80s today. Billings, Miles City, Livingston, and Sheridan all within reach of record high temperatures, or at least in the ballpark later in the day. As the temperatures are on the rise, the clouds will also pick up and our fire risk increases greatly. We'll talk more about that in a few minutes.
Whew, Sheridan, Wyoming should pop out the kiddie pools again.
That's for sure.
Warm. All right, well, I will get back to the news. Thanks so much, Ed.
Thanks.
With both presidential candidates in their 70s, last night's vice presidential debate took on greater significance. Both Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris avoided talking about the line of secession. CBS's Daniel Backus recaps the night, including the odd incident that may have stolen the show.
The coronavirus pandemic was center stage last night with plexiglass dividing Vice President Mike Pence and California Senator Kamala Harris.
The American people have witnessed what is the greatest failure of any presidential administration in the history of our country.
From the very first day, President Donald Trump has put the health of America first.
At their only debate, the candidates sparred over health care and the Trump administration's efforts to dismantle the Affordable Care Act.
If you have a pre-existing condition, heart disease, diabetes, breast cancer, they're coming for you.
Obamacare was a disaster. The American people remember it well.
Last night's debate was more cordial than the presidential one between President Trump and Joe Biden, though there was still plenty of jostling between the two candidates and the moderator.
Let me also say, the American people deserve, Susan, the American people deserve to know who repealed the Trump tax cuts.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking.
The most viral moment came when a fly landed on Pence's head and stayed there for 2 minutes as he discussed race in America.
Look, we don't have to choose between supporting law enforcement, improving public safety, and supporting our African American neighbors.
Harris is the first woman of color to appear on a major party presidential ticket.
Joe Biden will be a president who brings our country together,
Senator Harris,
and recognizes the beauty in our diversity.
The second presidential debate is scheduled for 1 week from today. Danya Backus, CBS News, Salt Lake City.
The next scheduled presidential debate remains in question. Former Vice President Joe Biden says if President Trump is still positive for the coronavirus, he should not debate. Vice President Pence, Senator Harris, and Democrat nominee Joe Biden will all be campaigning in Arizona today. Ballots were mailed out yesterday there, which means some voters may be getting them in the mail today or tomorrow. The state hasn't voted Democrat in an election since 1996, but Biden and Harris think they can steal it away this year. President Trump only won the state by 4% in 2016. The Republican and Democrat candidates will be in separate locations, but they will all focus on Maricopa County, which is believed to be one of the most important spots in the nation. President Trump says troops still in Afghanistan should be home by Christmas. Almost 2 decades ago, soldiers were deployed to fight against terrorists following the 9/11 attacks. Today, there are 5,000 soldiers still in Afghanistan. While President Trump says he can get them all out by December, his national security advisor says there will still be 2,500 troops there by early next year. The U.S. and the Taliban agreed earlier this year to the full withdrawal of U.S. troops by 2021. The former Minneapolis police officer seen kneeling on George Floyd's neck before he died has posted $1 million bail. Derek Chauvin is charged with 2nd and 3rd degree murder, along with other charges in Floyd's death. He was released from jail yesterday afternoon. On May 25th, video captured Chauvin kneeling on Floyd's neck for almost 8 minutes. 3 other ex-policemen are charged with aiding and abetting 2nd degree murder. All those men have asked for their charges against them to be dismissed. A curfew is in effect until Monday morning in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. This follows the announcement that no charges will be filed in the fatal police shooting of a 17-year-old. CNN's John Lawrence brings us the details.
Protesters filled the streets in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, demanding justice for Alvin Cole.
We have no problem with that as long as people remain peaceful.
Cole was fatally shot by police officer Joseph Mensah in February.
We are not done fighting. We are still going to fight. We are still going to fight for a conviction of Officer Joseph Mensah. That's right. That's facts.
Mensah fired at Cole, who police said had showed a gun to a person at a shopping mall and later refused police orders to drop the gun outside the mall. Milwaukee County DA John Chisholm decided against charging Mensah, saying there was sufficient evidence to show Mensah reasonably believed deadly force was necessary.
Why aren't you using your power to charge him with some level of homicide?
The Wauwatosa police tweeted Wednesday's protest caused some property damage, and they ordered crowds to disperse.
We don't feel safe. Citizens don't feel safe in Milwaukee, especially young black men.
The state's National Guard is working with local authorities to maintain calm. There has been tension during the investigation into the February shooting.
We have been planning for this event since mid-July. We have been in consultation with the governor's office throughout that time. we will get the support we need.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The officer who shot Cole has killed 3 people over 5 years, and family members are demanding he be fired and charged. Their attorney gave CNN a copy of a report from an independent investigator hired by the city who concluded that the officer is not fit for duty. His attorney did not respond to a request for comment. Continuing our coverage, we now know the name of the man shot and killed in Central Billings on Sunday night. 33-year-old Kyle Rita Billings died from a single gunshot wound to the head on the 1300 block of Custer Avenue. Police said a dispute over pet dogs led to the shooting. They believe the suspect and Reed got into a physical fight because the suspect had scratches on his head. Reed was also armed with a gun. A Billings restaurant owner says he's not guilty of sexually assaulting 2 former employees. 48-year-old Howard Shin made that plea in Yellowstone County District Court on Wednesday. Shin is charged with 1 felony count of sexual intercourse without consent and 2 misdemeanor counts of sexual assault. He's the owner of Carne Brazilian Grill, Wild Ginger Japanese Steakhouse, and the Asian Sea Grill. Court documents state Shin forced himself on 2 female employees. He was released on his own recognizance and banned from places that serve alcohol except for his own businesses. In other news, Billings school officials say students are no longer allowed to cheer from the stands at Dallas Stadium. The announcement comes just 1 week after Billings students attended a home game for Skyview. 2 family members per player will still be allowed to attend the games. Meanwhile, cosmetic companies are seeing a shift in the products women are wearing and buying. CBS's Elise Preston tells us how the pandemic is playing a role.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel.
With more than 1 million subscribers, Roxette Arisa is busy producing makeup tutorials.
So this pretty much covers my entire face, except for like this area.
One of her latest videos covers a common problem during the pandemic.
If I wear makeup, no one can see my lips or the bottom of my face, and it's just getting on the inside of my mask.
What made you post the mask tutorial?
Actually, a lot of my subscribers were requesting that one.
She suggests concentrating on the areas people can see.
Is this not a look? Focus on the eyes and then not focus as much on the face, and so that your masks stay clean.
With more people wearing masks, lipstick sales are sinking. A June report from the marketing research firm Poshley found 60% of beauty shoppers wore lipstick most of the time before the pandemic. This summer, that number fell to 23%.
During the pandemic, everything happened and everybody was kind of leery of sales.
Markel Javanti is creative director for Bovanti Cosmetics, which has seen lip product sales drop by nearly 50%. But sales for some eye products are up 96%. When Bovanti's East Coast makeup studios reopened, clients booked appointments to get just their eyes made up.
When you look someone in the eye, you can really tell that who that person is, how that person is feeling, how they're doing.
You also mentioned skincare. So have you been getting a lot of requests about skincare?
Yeah, 100%. I think skincare has been like on the rise for this year especially, just because so many people aren't going out as much and, are staying in and doing self-care. And you spray it on your hand.
Arisa says the pandemic has her viewers adjusting to a new normal. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
And before we take a break, during the pandemic, it's easy to remember how important doctors and nurses are to our communities. Well, today you have the chance to help them out by taking part in an all-day fundraiser that will shape the next generation of young nurses. Q2 is teaming up with Hot 1019 to benefit the Nellis Nurse Scholarship Program. It provides scholarships to student nurses, giving them the resources they need to be prepared to work the front lines. To donate, you can text SAINTS to 32037, or you can call 294-5910 or visit the St. Vincent Foundation website.